Zimbabwe recently hosted the 12th Africa Green Waste and Energy Expo in Harare. The Green Expo offered an opportunity for key players to debate on issues to do with climate change. The meeting was also an opportunity to share ideas and experiences, as well as promote innovative approaches to climate change with emphasis on women.
We are the organization that is organized and is also hosting this 12th Africa edition of the Green Expo on Waste and Green Energy. As an organization, we are much into coming up with solutions to resolve issues on waste management, and we've seen that we also need to actually move into a green energy, whereby we are promoting biogases, whereby we are turning waste into useful issues, and we have realized that there is actually a money into waste if we do the recycling aspect of our waste, as well as we ensure that we also reuse waste. So we are holding this 12th Africa a Green Expo edition with many countries that has also come through. And our niche for this year, we also felt that women, they also play a critical role in climate change issues, and thus we organized this side event, which is called Women in Climate Action.
And today what was happening was that there was the first of its kind, the side event on women in climate action. Last night we launched the Women's Eco Village, which is actually a unique village for women to discuss issues on climate change, climate action, just transition, and what we can do together as the women of Zimbabwe.
I have been invited to attend the Africa Green Waste and Energy Expo and Conference because I just wanted to learn more about the solutions to climate change, considering the industry that I'm in, and understanding that the cannabis flower needs more water, a lot of water to grow and be cultivated. So I'm here to look for solutions so that it doesn't affect the climate and, the future of Africa.
#Whispers hosted the first ever side event for women in climate action. The event was graced by the Chief Director in the Ministry of Women Affairs, Mrs. Lillian Matsika, UN Women Deputy Resident Representative Dr. Loveness Makonese, and other key stakeholders responsible for addressing issues of climate change.
So the conversation today was very important because, as you know, women are mostly affected when it comes to climate change. If you look at communities where there are water problems, for example, because our wetlands have been destroyed by various activities, the women are the ones who have to bridge the gap because water is essential in a household. So where a woman would just walk for 5-10 minutes to get to the nearest borehole or river, the rivers have gone dry, the boreholes, water tables are much lower. So it might mean this woman has to be at that borehole for an hour, 2 hours, because they need to bring a bucket of water home, or it just lengthens the journey, to the nearest borehole. And hence we are having this conversation about placing women at the center of the climate justice agenda.
Okay, the Green Expo has been a baby that has been running for years, but the initiative which is unique to this year's Green Expo is the involvement of women, specifically addressing the issues of women in climate action. So earlier this year, we had a team of delegates that went to Sweden on a learning visit. This is where we saw that there was uniqueness in the way that they tackle their issues. So when the delegation returned with the help of Her Excellency, the Ambassador, then we started engaging to see how we can make this Green Expo unique. This is why we invited women from different countries within our region, different stakeholders from our country, including women from the grassroots here in Zimbabwe. We had women who were showcasing the work that they do from Epworth, Marondera, Rua, Chitungwiza, where women use waste and change it into products that are resellable and they can be able to sustain their livelihoods.
Women globally are affected by climate change, and there is not much conversation on the negative effects of climate change on women and girls. A panel discussion was held to discuss climate change, and the topics clearly reflected the broad scope and magnitude of the negative effects of climate change.
We were graced by the Ministry of Women Affairs, PS Mr. Moses Mike, who officiated our Women's Eco Village. So this morning we were having the side event of Women in Climate Action, which had a rich panel that included the Ambassador of Sweden, Her Excellency Priscilla Misiairambi, and we had Honorable Yvonne Msarura from the Environment Committee, UN representatives, the Ministry of Women Affairs, and delegates from the SADC region who were discussing the issues that are affecting women and how we can work in collaboration with civil society organizations and government.
In Zimbabwe and as a ministry, how are you addressing the issues that are being brought out of the conversations around the just transition?
One of the biggest challenges that we currently have, I think, as a ministry and as government, is the issue of lack of proper coordination. And I think I remember when we were talking yesterday at the Eco Village, we would really want to see as government and as a ministry a well-coordinated and well-structured kind of engagement, with the various development partners that are currently in this area, interacting quite flawless with the ministry as well as the government. So to me, I think this is one of the first and foremost issue that we would want to take on board as a ministry. Why is it we would want such kind of an initiative? If we have that kind of an initiative, it means we can now be able to reach that woman I think I was talking about, that woman who is marginalized, that woman who is living with disability, that widow, and I can name on and on and on and on. Once we have got that kind of a structure as a ministry, I think we can then be able to engage well, and we can then be able to know what really is happening to our women. And I believe this is one of the issues that I think as a ministry we are then going to be starting with, so that we can then be able to engage almost everyone.
Zimbabwean women, we have managed to take advantage of waste in and around their communities for their own benefit, were celebrated at the expo.
Maybe before I start, I just wanted us to celebrate the women in Zimbabwe. Like our sister from Eseton said, women in Zimbabwe are doing a lot of great work. Sometimes we don't even acknowledge it. We don't want to say on your graveside, when you're about to bury you were the person who did well. But we want to celebrate you today. We want to celebrate the resilience. We want to celebrate the initiatives. We want to celebrate the open-mindedness of women in Zimbabwe. Despite all the challenges that we have gone through, you have done so well.
Takadzidziswa kuita ma-clean up campaigns. After that, takabva tazodzidziswa kuti kana muchinge maunganidza marara enyu, munorasa zvisina basa, zvine basa motora motanga patsva kugadzira zvimwe zvinhu zvine basa yatinoti iyo recycling. Tichitsigirwawo zvakare namai vedu Dr. Auxilia Munangagwa, takapiwa matraining zvekare tikagraduata, zvokuti muchitotiona kudai titoriwo magraduates. zvinhu zvatiri kugadzira izvi zviri kutibatsira kuchengetedza mhuri dzedu kuti tiwanewo chikafu.
If the community is to realize the goals of just transition, there is need to see women and girls as agents of change rather than simply victims of climate change. Empowering them through skills training and education is vital.
Tine club yedu yatiri kuita zve-recycling. So, pa-recycling, ma-communities edu, I think every corner kana kuti pane open space yatongo dump site. Saka isusu tunoenda tonhonga zvinhu zvezvi kunzi zvisina basa. Zvakafanana nezvigubhu izvi zvandakabata izvi. Pane 5 liter chigubhu. Tinochitora tochidesigna. Chotoburitsa vhasi. Vhasi racho rakutoshandiswa kuisa maruva or anything chaunoda. Kozoya it's like isusu tiri padhuze nepamachipisa panoraswa panosonwa. Tinonotora machira vanenge vacheka aya vakurasa ndo atinozogadzirisa bhutsu idzi machira atakaruka aya. Kozoya ma-plastic bags chaiwo kana ma-plastic apera chingwa ndo atakashandisa kuruka bhegi iri. Akasangana nema-packets aya emazepi takaburitsa bhegi. Mamwe ndeaya ane black and white aya tinoshandisa ma-offcuts maplastic. Tinobatsirwa makasets ema-VCR ma-DVD akudhara eblack. Tinobatsirwa neorganization inonzi Zimbo Green. Ndo yakauya ichizotibatsira paclub yedu, ndo vanotitsvagira, ndo vanotisosera kwatinoenda kunoita ma-exhibition.
South African government is, doing some project on the ground to involve women in terms of recycling, where they take waste and change it into valuable products that can bring them income, so that they can also be independent and stand on their own and be able to cater for their own needs.
Once we develop the capacity of the government to really ensure that every woman and every young girl is accounted. And when they were developing the Gender Action Plan for Climate Change, we are supporting that. Even the next week's mass stakeholder mapping exercise, it's UN Women who is ensuring that your voices are accounted for, and we are creating spaces where you are coming at your issues ahead.
We have already taken some baby steps where we have started to collaborate with organizations that provide information and resources to women about the transition. We have also partnered with organizations that are working with women on transition, and we are now trying to hold public hearings so that we can go to our people and start to talk about just transition. Just to add a few, here I was expecting to find common women, but I'm just seeing young women. I'm not seeing Anagogo. My mothers are not here in this room, and I expect the civic organizations next time when we host such meetings to have Anagogo here. My mother, who is in Rushinga, needs to hear about this. I know and I understand that the young women who are here are also affected. Like me, I come from Budiriro. When electricity goes, I have to go and buy coal, I have to go and buy firewood. And you know the effects of coal and the effects of firewood. And taking it, I've heard a lot here talking about women in rural areas. Yes, we represent everyone, and I'm also affected when I visit my rural area. I have to go and fetch water. Like in 2005, I was able to fetch water very close to my home. But now, when I go to my rural area, I have to walk like 5 kilometers to fetch water. So these issues are not only centered for women in Harare, and are not supposed to be centered for only women in rural areas. These issues are affecting everyone, young women, old women.
The recent meeting was also an important step in planning for the upcoming COP28 to be held in the United Arab Emirates.
Regional countries that were represented, to name but a few, we had Eswatini, South Africa, Zambia, Mozambique, Denmark, and I think I've already mentioned Zambia. They were here present, and so it was issues from that are actually cutting across the whole region, and we had all the representatives. Like I have said, there was a call of action which was done by all these member states and adopted this morning.
Speaking for COP28, I think it's very important that we plan. So before COP28, I'll speak on behalf of the youth. We have SB, which is Subsidiary Body for Scientific and Technological Advice. We have COI. We always rush to go to COP without preparing, yet we need to go to these smaller conferences and learn and see and have feedback mechanisms that we can take back to COP and then come back and deliberate on those.
A number of resolutions were adopted at the convening on women and climate change hosted by #Whispers.
We therefore, through this declaration, call upon the following. 1. Governments in SADC to support a COP28 pre-planning conference for young women, which will develop a coordinated young women-led climate action strategy focusing on SRH and ensuring green jobs for women. 2. UAE as host for COP28 to encourage engaging directly with young women-led organizations from the region to ensure their effective participation at COP28. 3. Setting up an interim steering committee that will prepare for the COP28 pre-planning conference by end of September. This call for action will require strong leadership and political commitment. In this context, we request the leadership of UN Women, Ministry of Women Affairs, to assist the young women in developing this strategy. We note that there is need for joint side events showing that we are not moving as one, but we are collaborating our efforts, and we are advocating for gender equality in just transition.
Women are turning waste into gold as they are using waste to make various products which they then sell. The income from waste is sustaining livelihoods.
Zvinhu zvatiri kugadzira izvi zviri kutibatsira kuchengetedza mhuri dzedu kuti tiwanewo chikafu, kuendesa vana kuchikoro uye kudzivirira kurodzwa kwevana vanasikana vachiri vana vadiki, nekuti tiri kuona kuti mwana haasisina nguva yekugara pamba, anenge achingoenda kuchikoro, haasisina nguva yekutsvaga zvakawanda kana kuenda kumashuga daddy, nekuti unenge uine pekutangira. Mhirizhonga mudzimba yapera nekuti madzimai haasisina nguva yekuswera ari pamba nevarume, nguva zhinji tinenge tiri kumaklabhu edu zvichingodaro.
Koya mumakommunities matiri kugara isisu, fanika community yedu isisu mazuva ano yatoo smart, saka naichitokurudzirawo madzimai kuti dai vauya tese tikanhonga marara tisingapisi, tichiita yusifu yezvinhu zviri kunze zvisina basa, tichigadzira mabhegi ari kubatsirawo futi isisu. Bhegi irori ndiri kutoritengesa rimwe $20 $25 riri kutengwa, even though hayo market ichiri low, asi inini zviri kundibatsira sekuya kwandatoita kuno. Aiwa ndotoziva kuti ndinotobva ndakabata ka100 ka50 nezvinhu zvaraswa, ende mucommunity handisisina nyaya nevanhu dzakanyanya dzisina basa, ndinoswera ndichinhonga hangu, ndoswera ndichiruka.
So green waste management is an important conversation, and once again women play a big role in the household because they basically are in charge of the care work in the home. So they are the ones who sweep, they are the ones who clean, and managing waste becomes a women's issue. And hence, it is important that we invest in awareness raising programs, but also allocates the requisite tools. So if a woman is going to disaggregate their waste, they need to have, spaces where they can deposit glass separately from paper, separately from a material that is biodegradable. And And so apart from awareness raising, we need to invest in an intensive awareness raising program, but also ensure that women have the requisite tools in place, so that we are not just, we want to match that talk, that awareness raising with action, and so resources have to be made available.